Hi, welcome to Edward Box Guitar Tuition. So my classic album inspection today is Heart's debut album, Dreamboat Annie. This was released in September 1975, I'm not sure what date, but it's 50 years old this month. Now, of course, it gained traction when it got its US release in 1976, but in actual fact, it was released on a Mushroom label, which I think is a Canadian label, in 75. It was recorded earlier in that year. This is the album that put them on the map. It got things going. It's double platinum, I believe, and it's got 3 really classic tracks. Let's delve into it. This is the classic lineup of Heart: Anne and Nancy, Steve Foster on bass, Michael DeRosa on drums, and Roger Fisher on guitar. Mike Fisher, famously sort of, was he managing, producing, and then Mike Flicker producing. And obviously the Wilson sisters were in relationship with the Fisher brothers. And Howard Lees kind of came in sometime 75 as the six member doing electric guitar, synthesizer, orchestral arrangements as well. Kind of the secret weapon of Heart, really. He doesn't really get the respect he deserves. So this album opens with Magic Man, What a Calling Card, one of the great tracks of sort of rock radio of the 70s. This lyric on this is, and it's all about Mike Fisher. I can't help myself, Mum, he's a magic man. It's a great sort of lyric, kind of almost got that teen sort of thing about it. Although Ann Wilson, by the time this album comes out, it's 25. Great, I love the riff on this. Great chorus, Anne's vocals, just stupendous on this. Cool lyrics. You got that cool breakdown in the middle with the guitar break. Bit like sort of a Whole Lot of Love, and then that cool synth break. Not really, much you can say about his track. It is cracking. I should say all the tracks are written by Anne and Nancy. The only co-write is Steve Foster and Roger Fisher on the track called Sing Child, which we'll come to. These the 2 Wilson sisters, and later on songs with Sue Ennis, wrote the most of the classic and the tracks of the classic era of Heart. So even though people sort of long after the classic, pine for the classic lineup, it was built off their songwriting. Then you got Dreamboat Annie, Fantasy Child. So this is the first incarnation of the Dreamboat Annie track. There'll be 3 on it. I think this is probably my favourite one, actually. It's just kind of a short piece. It works really well. It's just got that kind of folky sort of pastoral thing. I should say, obviously, Led Zeppelin, the big emphasis on Heart with Joni Mitchell. It's kind of like the 2 meeting. Then you got Crazy on You. This is driven by like a sort of robust acoustic part by Nancy. It's got that great intro. Pretty simple chords, A minor, F, but that cool little high part Roger Fisher does as well. And properly letting rip on the vocals, very difficult to sing in that register, male or female. She's just one of the great rock voices. Then this album's big sort of first kind of deep cupped epic track, which is Soul of the Seas. This is 6 minutes 33. Love this, love the sound of the sea and the wind on it, the atmosphere. It's got a really cool middle bit that's hard to describe. But sort of a bit again, it's kind of like a story world they're creating, I suppose it's their first song we see in the title, like Mistral Wind is kind of taking into the story world. And then Dreamboat Annie ends, then this is the one that was released as a single, I think, don't quote me on this. Maybe they amalgamated the 2, I'm not sure. I would say there's a little criticism, I think 2 Dreamboat Annies is cool. We'll come to the 3rd one. It might have been better just to have 2, and that's probably maybe why I knock a mark off. But that was the end of the original side one. Actually, the first time I got this album was when Heart got big in the UK in 1987 on the back of the Bad Animals album. They reissued their albums in early 88 with single sleeves. So I bought Dreamboat Annie then, but later on I found a second-hand copy in Hedgehog Records that I mentioned before in Lancaster with the Gatefold. So I got that because it was mint, and then I probably just sold it, and it's probably worth a fortune now, idiot. Anyway, side 2 opens with White Lightning and Wine. This is a kind of funky track. I suppose the sort of funky element I was thinking is kind of a bit James Gang or something. You think about those James Gang tracks, the funky riffing. This is a really good track, 3 minutes 53. And then you get the sort of the first of like you kind of big ballads. It's Love Me Like Music, I'll Be Your Song. Nice sort of country rock flavour on this. That's the other influence on this album. Love this track. For him, it's 20. You know, top vocal band. You can imagine this coming on like sort of country radio or something, or being used on a 70s film soundtrack. Then you got Sing Child. This is like the weird sort of, again, that James Gang funkiness. It's got a weird sort of harmony on this. It's a little bit sing child sing, a bit sort of atonal, a bit of a flat 5 sound, I guess. I quite like this though. It's got like a really kind of gnarly guitar sound, and there's a mean flute solo in the middle, which is, it all adds to the funkiness. You know, it's a little bit, one thing with Heart is as well, I think people didn't realise, like, the sound is actually quite dated in a way, in a nice way. You know, they kind of got that late 60s slightly flower era element, you know, again coming from Joni Mitchell, but, you know, the two girls singing, Man and Papas and stuff like that. So, and the way they're dressed was, you know, if you compare it to other bands at the time, you know, Kansas or Styx or whatever rock bands would be around that time. They're a little more like the sort of 5 years, you know, behind, but I really like it. Kind of works that sort of, that folky floweriness. Then you got How Deep It Goes. I think this is like one of the outstanding cuts on the album. There's actually another version of this they did later on Jupiter's Darling. It's a great track. Ann Wilson wrote this on her own. I just love this. I love the chords on the verse. I love the way the melody moves over the chords. And then it finishes off with Dreamboat Annie reprise. And so this is it's kind of like the slower version. You know, it doesn't have. I think sometimes it get muddled. So yeah, it's maybe a Dreamboat Annie 2 farm. The album's 40 minutes long, so we could have lost one of the Dreamboat Annies. We still have a lengthy album, lengthy enough. But you know, I still like the track. I'd easily get the album 9 out of 10. I mean, the production's very of its time, but it just kind of feels kind of like the you know, Mike Flicker's just, and the engineers have just kind of captured the band. You know, and then added on the orchestral arrangements and things like that. The Little Queen album sort of builds on this sound, and it's got some, you know, better moments, but this is more consistent. It might be the most consistent. Even I love Dog and Butterfly, but this is probably the most consistent album of their early work. Okay, so it's 50 years old sometimes this month. Yeah, remember to share and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks.